Order for good news, Cassia, that is here, and as answer about Ghana, I'm so making in our bro. Oh, Ghanatube for good news, Ben, that is here, and about Ghana, making in our bremo. Fast forward the Bora and 7 more. John Dramani Mahama or Nankasani Chief of Staff, your friend Julius Debrah. Or no, our Bible and the good news, Cassia, Edia call Edia Ma Ghana phone, say Yenina, so Yenti and Sama air cost so order for. And check Ghana yanka seba baby bia yen just say ye import bia ifia manoni yanka ne baby bia o Ghana so the form aye John Dramani Mahama no de kasemu no e de ahye eye onankasa ne chief of staff Julius Debrah no de nyina bre Ghana for the form yanko na yanko ji sa good news we enchire mu enfi Ghanatube mbra disia.
Thank you very much, Dave. Of course it can be done, but we have to do a few things. And it's the reason I am happy that this morning our special guest of honor is the Chief of Staff of the Republic of Ghana. Let's now welcome him with a round of applause, the Honorable Julius Debrah.
Please be seated. Thank you very much, Dave. That was very insightful, well informed. The President of AAG, distinguished Chief Executives, Members of Parliament, thank you very much for having me here. I've been asked to represent His Excellency, who would have loved to be here, but due to other engagement, he's asked myself and my other colleague, Honorable Stan Dogbe, who happens to be the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations. At least that tells you the importance the President attaches to this event. And so we just want to assure you that we are here to listen and to also take issues very seriously. But let me start with one of the little stories. You know, as someone who spent over 8 years driving around the country, sharing the same vehicle with the president, you can imagine the number of conversations that we've had. Because you can't sit in a vehicle from Accra to Kumasi without talking about something. But I want to share one of the Renaissance, what I call Renaissance stories that the president shared with me. I call them Renaissance stories because it ends with a rebirth and encourages us. So he was telling me that in the early 70s, there was a gentleman called Emmanuel Kwekuowusu who had a company known as Kowus Motors. And there were quite a number of them, and a lot of vehicles were being assembled in Ghana then, in the 70s. In fact, Kowus Motors did so well. They were representing Volkswagen. They did so well that there were a lot of golf cars all over the country. At that time, the president then had cited a survey that suggested that if you empower women, they are able to advance with whichever capital you give them. So as a result of that, most women were able to buy golf cars. We all heard a funny story about it. The truth of the matter is that when production is done in the country, a lot of citizens are able to afford brand new vehicles. And so what you are doing now indicates a rebirth to what has happened in the past. If it had happened before, it means there's nothing to stop you from doing it and being successful at it.
Order for Martin Seminar, Julius Debrah, Ghana for Yankasa Chief of Staff, or the Ababeto Abontino say, can na Ghana Yankasa to me produce ye bibia, cast na dinanti this time round, no dear, near manana canen ye no, this time round, yes, answer the babium, into Ghana Yankasa baby produce Yankasa cast, ye baby assemble Yankasa cast, oh, I see. This is the good news I also Ghana has a miss beginning in our bro. Our Ghana to the Siano and check yen crack cars being fear manonibium. And Ghana has a automotive industry no ye ba bebie mu kama o Ghana so for we ene nsema ye yankase chief of staff Julius Debrah wa ba abonte odi ni nyina beto abonte so ameso meje ni nyina bra o Ghanatube for we na good news cause you say Ghana ha enche yankasa ye be produce ni assemble yankasa cars enya ade a ye be transport na se be import ni ma bia fi abonten e de abas yankasa be bibia se na be a Ghana ha say ni economy no betumi gina brand amai na yetumi apem akoyenim as Ghanaians sort of when a good news so aye Julius Debrah aba abonti ameso beji ni nyina bra e Ghanatube for my enko na yentu ansem so mmagisia.
Apart from creating jobs for the citizenry, we believe that if you are able to manufacture new vehicles, it also gives dignity to the citizenry to pride themselves from using new vehicles. Now, the concept I like about what you are doing is that vehicles for Ghana. Any investor that comes into Ghana can look into the West African sub-region, and I'm happy to hear from Mr. Debrah that already you exported some vehicles to La Côte d'Ivoire. And so the thinking of the president is that if we can give any necessary support, in our mind's eye, we should be aiming that we are not going to be a hub for producing new vehicles, but we are going to be a hub producing vehicles for export into the other West African sub-region. Because obviously, if somebody is in Burkina Faso, he would rather prefer to import his brand new vehicle from Ghana than probably importing it from Europe, if our prices are right. And so in order not to make this looks like one of the regular talk shops, we are here in the name of the president to reassure AAG that let's move this further, do the rightful engagement with the presidency, and let's practically analyze and agree on the best way to move this forward. We are committed, the president is committed, and whatever it takes for us to grow this industry, we promise you we'll make sure it is done.
Order for say Ghana yate den ye see good news kese na aba Ghana ha say no yankasa chief of staff say President John Dramani Mahama ni abriye pan wa Ghana ha say obey everything possible say na be Ghana ha say betumi ayi bibia nya de be importing na ma bia fi abonten and see an automotive industry no ye ba be shemo kena see Ghana enche yankasa be ye cars na ya tonton ye the cars na koye den amanone ne akwa tonton ho se na be betumi nya foreign currency the aba Ghana ha say na de be boost economy no for we na good news kese a abeto dwa o Ghana ha say ameso meji ni nyina bra o Ghana to ye say Ghana ha say no ye ba be promote yankasa ye automotive industry no this time round ye ba be build niema bebre ye ba be chese yankasa ba be ye cars o Ghana ha say a enya ade be import cars be for when a communication the den ekoso a good news efi presidency ho a meso meji ni nyina bra o Ghanatube for my enko na yentu ansem so magisia.
But looking into the future, we also encourage you to, in the processes, possibly consider the introductions of EV and other things that will minimize the use of fossil fuels, since that's becoming the order of the day. And we believe that definitely as industry players, you are already considering things like that. As a government, we will definitely make sure that the rightful incentives are provided, because literally our thinking is that if you have a hen and it lays an egg and you decide to eat the egg, your chances of getting more chicks is going to be non-existent. However, if you decide to let your hen hatch the eggs, pretty soon before you turn around, you see that you have a lot of chicken that you can sell and use. What am I trying to say? All I'm trying to drive at is that if we come together and we think that we should give you additional incentives so that you can plow back and be able to invest some more, within the short, medium term, I believe Ghana as a country will be very happy for taking that wise decision. And so our doors are open for us to have meaningful conversation so as to be able to move this forward. The final thing I need to say is that the President of the Republic, who himself believes in private sector development, because partly he grew up from a home where his dad was an entrepreneur. It's not the regular thing we say, politicians, that the private sector is the engine of growth, private sector is the engine of, and that's it. That is talk shop. He actually wants to walk the talk. And so once again, I'm throwing the challenge to Mr. Debrah and your team to make sure you engage government appropriately so that we all benefit from such a beautiful initiative that you started. Once again, we wish AAAG very successful in all the endeavors you undertake, and individual investors and vehicle assembly companies that are here. Please, you have our word. We are all ears, and whatever we need to do with you to make sure that this becomes successful, we will do. Thank you, and God bless you all.
We can definitely do better. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Chief of Staff, Julius Debrah. Shall we please be seated? And I like the fact that he talks about government's commitment to the cause and willing to do everything possible to ensure the success of this industry. And I'm sure that's one thing that would excite the AAAG and all CEOs gathered here, because we've been talking about this for
Order for when a good news, I say about Ghana has ye see and che Ghana has no chese ye baby yanka see BBA send a bear. You bet me exporting more mumu ye import order for cars. See I mean no cars and say cars or Ghana has seen and do na ye importing na. Just some few people no more Ghana has see or cars or no crampono heading hand see no John Dramani Mahama or no waba bontin na say true. Onankatani Chief of Staff Julius Debrah no ababonto say enche Ghana ase ne yaba be bibia anya de be import bibia fi ama no ne de ba ase odofo we na good news koso wo Ghana ase de maye enche yankasa ye automotive industry no yaba be building nya kama wo Ghana ase na be ya mene wo economy no ebetumi agina bra na bibia koso kama wo Ghana ase odofo we any breaking news abeto dwa me so beji ni nyina bra wo Ghanatube do former me fi say mobile like no subscribe no share no hit notification bell so am say na be abrini abibia ya drop content awo so nya ntempa na hwe new tia me do for aha e na me de nsem nyina besi e wo Ghanatube makra mu nyina me da mu nyina se